And that's another slam down, of course, for the title. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of TAF Solutions. Before hours, after hours. I can't even keep up anymore, Sean. All the time just blends into itself now.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully, you've had a cup of coffee, Joe, because I have. And I'm excited about today's topic, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, what is today's topic?
We're going to be talking about credibility on the internet and you, as a
Oh,
business owner, why that's important and what you can do to be credible on the internet.
see. So that basically just means that I need to buy reviews and go in and definitely try to find all my family and friends and have them share. Just only like look at my page, right?
Now, you
And like it
start with
20
going to
times.
Fiverr. You find the cheapest person that's going to be able to give you the most amount of reviews. And please don't do that. Please don't do that. And we're hoping that you don't do that. Or my favorite one, Joe, is whenever everybody gets in a networking event and they say, "Hey, let's share reviews." Everything's geotagged, and they just share reviews and they wonder why they get suspended and banned with their Google account. So that's always fun, right?
Absolutely. I think as long as we're always trying to say keep it above board, do things what you basically treat your business with the golden rule that you would expect other people to you would appreciate other people to run their business like. If you don't do shady activities, usually benefits you to do it that way. What was it? I saw a recent article that basically said that thing like what the consumers trust digital brands with ethical transparency. That is an interesting word. Ethical
Ethical transparency
transparency,
is based on whose ethics.
right? But of course, if you're talking about commonly held ethics, then I think that answers the question.
Sure, absolutely.
That's the goal, though, is like what is like, what works, what doesn't work, right? And I think what, or we should focus less on abstracts now, obviously, because that's all we're doing at the moment, and talk about well, Sean, what makes it to where you can have what trust or something on the internet? What's up?
Well, I think we need to step back and really look at what social media is because in the past it's always been about promotion. Like, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, and you should reach out because I can help you with that. But truthfully, we're past that. It's actually about showing proof in the pudding of exactly what we do. So it's not only about promoting what you can do, but also showing proof into what you're doing. And that's how you're seeing even with software. I've noticed if you go online, you'll see a lot of people that are showing you how to edit and change and make videos and so forth. And say, well, what I use this particular tool, and this tool allows me to do X, Y, and Z. So they show the proof in it. And that's really getting people more interested in utilizing that particular tool. I've seen that quite a bit, and it's usually the application developer that's creating these videos that want to talk more about that. So that's really what I see. It's more of the, there's a the bigger picture is there's 6 pillars, right? We talk about you got your website, making sure that your website's credible, shows the information on there, using social media, making sure you're targeting the right audience, right? Making sure you have a solid call to action, and of course, when you start doing campaigns, you want to make sure the campaigns make sense. I can't tell you how many times we see customers that have campaigns that just don't make any sense. I know you have, Joe.
Well, too many times, unfortunately, and I think what a lot of people mistake social media for is a promotional platform exclusively. You know, the now I believe that it was more of a promotional platform a while back, you know, but it has definitely changed. Social media has definitively changed just in the past couple of years. I mean, hell, even just last year it changed, right? Uh, Tell me if this sounds accurate. Because social media proves credibility, not just promotes products, but more importantly, real people outperform giant corporate posts, even on their own channels. Real people, not just promotional branding, you know. I think that's really where we're headed and have already arrived, of course, and as proof because that social media is more of a trust filter than anything else now. It's not a did you know, you know, because yes, that is still what it's always going to be. Did you know X, Y, and Z?
Yeah,
As
you
it
hit it.
is doing that, you need to figure out who to trust, you know, and how that credibility comes. Go ahead, Sean.
No, you hit around the nail. And it's actually for people that are interested more about going down the rabbit hole. It's a UGC content or user generated content. It's where normal individual people like us that are not part of a particular brand. We are the brand, and we talk about the particular product or service. That's really going deeper into that social proof. It's like, hey, I'm a real human being. I use this product, and it does an amazing job on it.
Yeah.
And those people that actually have a following are creating more and more content. Kind of goes back to the old days where the Kim Kardashians of the world were very, we're very popular in this, but now user generated content is everyday users, kind of like Joe, right? There's
Every
this
day.
new razor. He hits a new razor, and you see, it makes my face beautiful, right?
Well, I think the important thing that people need to realize is not that it's look, way too many people are one and dones. They come in, they put out like a couple of posts or 3, 4 posts for like a month, and they're gone. They just zip out into the world, and they go back to what they were doing. It doesn't matter if they're a brand, a big brand, like a business that they want to be a big brand anyway. It doesn't matter if they're a brand new solopreneur. It doesn't matter if they're a digital content creator playing games on the internet. It doesn't matter, because the real cheat code that comes down to all of this is just straight up consistency. Volume doesn't do a darn thing. You can post every hour of every day for a week and get literally nothing out of it. Or you can do the same amount of volume over the course of like 3 months, 5 months, and get way more out of it. That's the truth behind social media today, is that it rewards consistency. It doesn't reward volume.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. So I had experimented with TikTok probably maybe 6 or 7 months ago, and I had started posting 3 videos a day. I just was really interested in seeing how the algorithm acts. I had an account. I usually just for entertainment purposes and swiping through and looking, but then I switched it and I started doing 3 videos a day. But not only that, but I started sharing content, reposting content, texting, and communicating with people inside the platform. And I started quickly building over 1,000 following. 1,000. I got to like almost 1,300 views. Joe, I stopped doing it. I'm still on the platform. I'm still on it. I'll post occasionally. I am now down to 1,194. It just slowly drops and dips and drops and dips. It's very interesting on how the algorithms work. But yes, they require you to be. I mean, like you said, you got to be consistent. You got to be on it. Message has to stay the same. And I think that's another interesting piece is what's being picked and choose. I know this is probably not the topic that we want to get into, but also the algorithm is looking based on trending aspects. And I can tell you, and I'm going to use a Super Bowl as an example. When Super Bowl came out and they had the halftime and they were showing Bad Bunny and his video, I was fixated on the trees, the people that were trees. And I took a video just recording the trees. Like, hey, these are people in the background that are doing this work. Joe, all my other videos were getting 300, 400. This video spiked to 1244 just for tagging Super Bowl, Bad Bunny, and it was a trending topic. The most useless video.
Exactly.
And that's interesting about that as well. So anyways, yep.
Well, that's the thing, and this lends itself to the idea of trends and things of that nature. When you go onto trends, you get trend people. Very quickly, you realize that you have to always do trends, and you'll lose those trend people, by the way, that you got, because the topic matter they're not interested in. The next trend may not be interested in the topic that you choose to trend on.
100%.
So all those people are useless in terms of like growing your brand, because or even just, you know, your channels, not because they're useless people. It's just that their interests do not align with yours, you know, and
Right.
that's why being consistent and building with on message of what you believe, and having people go, hey, I believe in that too. I think that's great what you're doing. Those people stick around. They become invested in what you post, and that is the truth. Why credibility is built over time, because it's hard finding those people. You know, obviously, those people end up ballooning out the more they are in one place, right? You know, the algorithm starts picking up on you too a little more. It's a slow gain, right? But it is a gain. It's just like when you go to the gym, right? Um, you know, I remember it took me, somebody was, you know, 350, 375 pounds, had a lot of body fat, all that stuff. It took me 2 years to completely recomposite my body to where I have a whole lot more muscle, um, very, very, you know, a lot less fat. I've lost tons of weight. That wasn't the goal. The goal is to get healthier, right? And I did just that. Now I lift more than ever, yada yada yada. But just all that aside, that's great. But go back to what I said. It took me 2 years to get recomposition to my body. That is not a short amount of time,
Right. No, it's not.
you know, and that's something people need to understand. It's like so easy to quit during that time period, especially when you think you don't see the gains coming every day, every week. You know, it's difficult. But every single time went out and did something, every day went by, I got a little closer, a little closer, a little closer. That is the game that is social media as well. You
Correct.
get a little closer every time. Don't stop posting. Doesn't have to be 3 times a day. I mean, unless that's your industry, right? If you're doing food or something to that effect, maybe that's what you should do, right? But if it's just, you know, something simple, post once a day, but do it every day. You know, that's the goal, obviously. And I think
Right.
a lot of people, they struggle with that consistency, that discipline, and you know, they stop at some point. It What I like to say is here's the cheat code. Find a workflow that works for you, that you can fit into your schedule. Get a tool that lets you schedule stuff out, right? And hey, you don't have to do. You can do all of your posts, you know, kind of in one sitting. You know, all just one day. Just do a week's worth of post. I don't know. Do whatever works best for your schedule. It doesn't have to run your life. Is the goal, and that leads to the next part that was talked about earlier with trends. Unfortunately, with trends, guess what that does? It runs your life.
Right.
You can't not follow a trend. You have to follow the trends. So don't do that to yourself. You know, like that. That's just all I'm going to say with that.
You hit around the nail. I mean, it's very important. You know, I think it's something that people need to take that into consideration.
Definitely, guys. If y'all want to go more into what some of the things are when we're talking about, check out this link I'm putting in chat. Always interesting to see what people have discovered for that. And in that list, of course, I think it's great. There's they talk about long-term partnerships with trusted creators beat short-term influencer campaigns. Couldn't agree more. I think if you let yourself get swooped in to what's currently the current thing, it gets difficult. That doesn't mean you can't do it. It just needs to be applicable to what you're, you know, what your subject matter is on your channel. That's all. You know, I think you should feel very happy when the trends align with what you're talking about, and that's great.
Right.
But don't seek it. That's the question. That's the
It definitely helps. It does make a difference though.
yeah. 100%. So what other methods besides social media though, or should we be looking at, Sean? I mean, I think social media is definitely the low hanging fruit. But what else builds credibility on the internet? Huh?
Well, I would say for one, definitely having that Google business profile and making sure that it's actually been verified and it's got accurate information. So your name, your address, your physical location, your phone number, all that needs to be up to snuff. But also on top of that, making sure that you have relevant keywords and making sure that it aligns directly with everything else that you're doing. So your Google business profile, your website, your social media content, everything has to all play together. I always say you need to look at it kind of like your credit, because whenever you're looking to finance something, and they run your credit report, they go based on the three major credit bureaus, and they're not only looking at your credit scores, but they're also looking at the transactions, the consistency in your transactions, how well you pay on time, right? It's the same
Yeah.
thing whenever it comes down with this, and you hit around the nail. It's being consistent, same message, same topic, and it all aligns with all of the different areas, the website, your paid campaigns, your social media. They should all be saying the same thing. Matter of fact, we were talking to another freelancer actually the other day, and I just happened to go to her Facebook profile, and I said, "Hey, you do CRMs, but you're also talking about jewelry. What does jewelry have to do with CRMs?" And that's something that the messaging gets out. Okay, we get it from a human perspective. We may say, "Hey, look, she likes jewelry. Cool, great. She makes jewelry, totally great." But Google's trying to understand: are you real? Are you legit? Is that really what you do? Are you a subject matter expert on that? And so whenever you put down that you're doing CRMs and you help with automation, and all of a sudden you put down that you're making beautiful jewelry, here in Houston, well, Google's like, "Hey, so which one is it? Is it jewelry or is it CRMs? Is it Go High Level or is it Go High Level Jewelry?"
Well, Hello Jewelry sounds like a great brand name. No,
Whatever it takes, man.
but no, I think you're right, and confusion is definitely not going to build trust on the internet. For
Right.
sure.
Right.
I think that is another stamp in favor of consistency. Like being consistent. Not only we talked about social media. Hey, guess what? Your Google profile needs to be consistent. You need to be consistent on other parts of the internet too. Hey, it's almost like that if you practice what you preach, people tend to trust you more. I don't know, like it's almost like this is like a lot of basic knowledge that we all understand in the real world that we inherently embody and understand when we're talking to people in person.
Right.
That also tends to blend in or bleed into what's happening in the digital world. So guys, it really doesn't have to be as difficult. You have a roadmap already, just if you wouldn't do something in person, then don't do it in the digital space. Like, yeah, it's especially true, by the way, for how non-private the internet is nowadays, too, as well, by the way. So if I'm sure we've all heard and seen the wonderful, should I say terrible, of course, I don't want to be misconstrued here, things that people have said in the past, and they're called to account because they thought anonymity was going to stay forever with their Facebook profile or something that, has their entire life put on it, which is always funny to me when I see people like shoot themselves in the foot that way.
Yeah, and I guess the way you should take all of your accounts is if it's kind of like if it's interesting you mentioned that. I'm gonna use my son as an example. All of us that have played on the internet when we were in high school, okay, and whenever we played games on the internet, you get kind of passionate about it, and sometimes you say mean things because that's what the internet does to you, especially when you're playing pixelated games and you're arguing over the internet. But one time I was talking to my son and it was a teachable moment. I said, is that something that you would say to the person if they're right in front of you? Would you be okay saying that? He goes, no. I said, treat it that way. That the same way you're going to conduct business or you're going to conduct talking to someone face to face with that same amount of respect, do the same thing on the internet. So if you're willing to say in person, and if you're okay with that, treat it the same way. So with that being said, I think the biggest piece, man, at the end of the day, Joe, is about being consistent, making sure that material is the same across all of the platforms. The other challenge that people have is not only about being consistent, but it's also the ability of creating that user generated content. You should be willing to be in the front of it. And I hate to say this, and I know a lot of us don't want to do this. Even right now, we're on this video right now. People can see who Joe Wallace is and who Sean Odemishi is. You know, if it's an avatar, if it's an image, if it's AI generated, look, that's only going to go so far. Okay, it really is. People want to see the true, authentic version of you, right? They want to see people that are passionate about what they're doing. They're legitimate. They're consistent. But the other piece that we really haven't spoken about is really the educational aspect. You know, everybody's a subject matter expert in their particular area, and it's so important for us to educate others about our products and services. So that's essentially what we're doing. We're here to educate you, and if you are offering, you know, some sort of an exfoliate or something for skincare, you're a subject matter expert, and you should be willing to educate those that may be interested in the product. Well, here's the thing. You can't just say, well, everybody knows about this. Joe, do you know which soap to use in your face?
Of course.
Of course.
Because
but the dude,
trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error. But there's a lot of people out there that may not know. They may not know what soap is good to use, you know?
Or that if there's a better one out there, right? I mean, shit, you know.
Or you shouldn't use Dawn on your face. You know, Dawn soap, you know?
Probably a bad plan.
Well, you could. I don't know. I do know the commercial shows. You know, in the ocean, in the oil, and they take the duck and they wash the soap off the duck. Anyways, you get where I'm going with this. So tough on ducks. You know, tough on grime and not tough on ducks. Anyways, you get the idea.
Tough on ducks too, probably. No, I'm just kidding. I'm tough on ducks. No, I want to say, yeah, I think let's talk about where consistency rewards so much. Yeah. That I would love to share this actually with the class, you know, and I think I already have I have it pulled up right now. I'm going to pull this up for you guys. Let's see if there we go. I can do it this way. All right, guys. So here's what's great. 60 stats you need to know, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read through all 60. I'm going to read through some bullet points though. So get this, reviews. Hey, remember that thing that people like don't really talk about as much anymore? I mean, they kind of do, but it was like the bee's knees, like maybe 10 years ago, right? Well, guess what, guys? Still really important. Just imagine this. I want you guys to imagine this. When it comes to credibility on the internet, these things don't typically go away. The things that used to be really important, they don't really go away. They just add it to the pile. That's all they do, right? So check it out this way. 93% of consumers say that online reviews directly influence their purchasing decisions. So if you didn't think you need them, not that you probably didn't, yeah, you do. Better yet, 72% of customers won't take any action until they have read the reviews about your business. It's a pretty high amount. I'm going to keep going. I'll go through all of them real quick so you guys get an idea. 89% of customers or consumers are likely to choose a business that replies to all reviews. Interesting. And then second to last, 43% of consumers used local news as a source of reviews information on local businesses in 2024. Very low in comparison to some of the numbers we talked about. So what was traditional sources of trust are not big sources of trust anymore. Last one, 84% of people say a brand's video convinced them to buy a product or service. That's it. So guys, there's no reason not to do reviews, and there's definitely, with that last statement, no reason not to make content. So you can build trust.
You hit it right on the nail. I mean, at the end of the day, human voice outperforms brand accounts. It really does. And I'm just gonna say, you're gonna see test it for yourself. Make a useless AI video and post it online, and then take the same content, the same script, and do it yourself, and you'll see the difference just with the way the algorithm plays with it. You'll be very shocked and surprised.
Got it. Well, that being said, I think that's pretty much it for the online credibility section here. Let's quickly wrap this up with some basic practical tips for listeners. John, what are the biggest things that you think people should do today? Like, what is a thing they can do right now?
I mean, let's start with the basics. I mean, with whatever product or service you're selling, hopefully you believe in your product and service, and you believe that it can change the lives of people. So start educating, start communicating with people, start doing that. Start talking about it, putting yourself out there. I think that's a huge piece. I think if the more people were starting to share their perspective and create user-generated content, personal, there would be a lot more. People listen to that. People do listen to that. They may not leave a comment. You look at videos, and if you look at the insights, you can see that a ton of people look at it. You may get three people that comment, but you may have 800 to 1,000, 10,000 people that have actually viewed it. So don't think that people are not listening. They are. They just may not comment. And of course, I would say the biggest strategy, and you said, Joe, was really staying consistent. Be consistent with it. Same way you want to pay your bills on time, you want to post material on time, and try to stick with that.
Fully agree. And to build on top of that just a little bit, guys, transparency and ethical behavior aren't buzzwords. Okay. Research literally shows, real research shows that they build trust and loyalty. Okay. And that's what you want. In the age where consumers are more skeptical than ever about what they see online. I mean, you've seen all the wonderful AI videos out there that are getting better and better every day. Listen, they're looking for signals that show real people behind whatever they're looking at, So give it to them. Give it to them, because you need to treat your inbox like your roadmap or whatever you're trying to do, be a creator online or being a business. Stop making it hard on yourself, beating your head against the wall, wondering what you should do. The core of business, the core of everything is trying to give people what they want. So respond to all your reviews, get fresh reviews, do all the things that send the trust signals that make you desirable. And better yet, if somebody comes up to me and is like, hey, you know what you should do? I was looking for this, but you didn't have it. Do you know where I can get it? And if that's something that you want to dive into, because maybe that's the next logical step for your business, is to add that product or service. There's your roadmap. Let people drive you in the right direction. That's what built Taft Solutions. That's what's going to build your business too.
100%. Don't focus on the noise. Just keep on going.
Exactly. That being said, guys, thanks so much for all of your input and all the wonderful things, by the way, we get in our inbox all the time. We really appreciate all the well wishes. And if you're interested in catching our podcasts live, where you can actually interact with us and talk, feel free to go ahead and pencil in every other week on a Wednesday at 11 a.m. CST. You are going to find us here. Typically, that's going to be the first and third Wednesday of every month. Typically. I mean, obviously, Things may change down the line, but that's what we're doing for now. And also, you can check us out on Spotify as well, and anywhere else that you can possibly really think of where major podcast distributors are. We're on there, ready to go. If y'all want to join, listen that way, feel free to as well. Happy that you guys are here at all. So in the meantime, guys, have a wonderful rest of the week and catch you next time.
Later.